Welcome to the Ball at All Costs podcast. Episode 9. We have no guest this week, but we have our esteemed panelists, Deji Spurs and Dan, aka Just a Dad. Evening, my brothers. How are we doing? I'm going to hit that to Dan first.
I'm good. I'm about to get married. It's half term. Let's enjoy.
He's always got a drink. You're like my niece. He's always got a drink as an accessory. Dare I ask what you're drinking, or is it child friendly? Are we going to get shut down?
It's keeps me hydrated.
That doesn't look hydrating.
It's very sweet. It's good. It's just an evening little drink. It's been a long weekend, long week. Time to unwind, have a chill, chat with my brothers. You know how we do. We're here, still breathing. Another week, another day, and we go again.
Okay, all good. How are you, Deji?
Yeah, I'm good, man. A lot going on. Always looking forward to catching up with my brothers and just getting into some football and I won't talk about my club, but I do enjoy Grassroots football. So good to be back and doing another show.
Perfect. Well, that's good. I feel like, Dan, I saw you a couple of hours ago. Dej, I saw you at the weekend. So it's all good. Ball at all costs. Guys, if you're listening, you know the routine by now. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification, hit the like, do all that good stuff, please, guys. And if you listen on the audio, like it, leave a review. And most importantly, tell a friend to tell a friend. Yeah. Now that we got that out of the way, I thought, as you said, Dan, off stage, it's ironic that this show is called Commitment. And we were actually supposed to record yesterday, but it didn't happen. But we're back today, committed to the cause and recording. And it's ironic because I often go to the soccer schools and I get speaking to new mums. I don't know whether I throw football jargon around. Maybe it's because I've got the club badge on. Sometimes with the initials, people start asking me questions. Me being the helpful person I am, I start answering them. And then we get talking. And often I feel like I put parents off or give them a reality check. And you might think why that is. And that's because they will tell me, like, they'll ask a question. And typically it's like, oh, how does my son get into a team? And then I'll say, just keep coming. Once they get to the age or they show some promise, they'll be asked if they would like to be in a team. And then they say, okay, really, that's great. And I say, well, be prepared to lose your Sundays. Your Sundays will no longer be yours. And they're like, what do you mean? I'll say, well, every single Sunday for at least 10 months of the year, you will be at football, including Mother's Day, right? So that's one side of it. Then I say to them, and then there's training. So that's probably, for our club, it's Thursday night. So every Thursday, you'll be at training. And they'll go, oh. And I'm like, yeah, it's Thursday, Sunday, every week. And then if they want to do extras, if they want to do futsal, if they're doing small-sided sessions, if they're playing for another team, if they're lucky enough to get into EDC or Early Development Center, there's probably 2 or 3 other sessions a week that you'll be doing. And their face just drops. And as Ade said once on this famous pod, is this isn't hip, hip, hooray. Right. So if you're not doing hip, hip, hooray football, showing up on a Sunday, maybe showing up for training, there is often a large commitment. Now, we say on this pod that our boys play at a decent level, and they do. So last week, Dej, you were talking about strength and conditioning that you've got your son into. So that's an additional commitment. So I was going to ask both of you, in terms of, you're going to have to do quick maths here, in terms of hours per week, what does that look like for you, including travel for your children?
Including travel?
Including travel. What does that look like in terms of number of hours? Do it for the week, and then let's get a monthly figure. I see Dan's doing the maths in his head, mental maths. Yeah. That drink ain't going to help you, my friend. So, Deji, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I think that the bottom line is you're looking at anything between 10 to 12 hours a week. I think my son at the moment is probably leaning towards the 12 hours at the moment. I think it's the point that I would want to make is it depends on the level you're at and what you're trying to achieve. So just to qualify, there's nothing wrong with training once a week. There's nothing wrong with training twice a week. However, if you're wanting to, like these youngsters, our kids, when they start to walk towards the top end or the high level, it becomes more competitive, and they see more as athletes, to be fair. And so what comes with being an athlete is you have to do the stuff in the background, you preparing your meals, making sure you have enough sleep, but you have to do the extras. If you're not doing the extras at the upper end of grassroots football, I think you can see it in the boys. The ones that are flourishing and doing the most are probably the ones that are putting in the hours week in, week out. And the ones that are struggling at that level probably are not putting in the hours. So it is an hours thing. You can actually get your child to be at that level, if they've got potential, but it comes with hours. You have to do the extras. And you see that even with the academy kids, they're not just relying on the academy training.
Let's come back to the academy boys in a second.
But I reckon about 10 to 12 hours per week is what I'm
10 to 12 hours, and our boys are under 10. Yeah, so I think we can say that on the pod. So that's 10 to 12 hours at under 10. What about yourself, Dan?
I think probably traveling games, if he's got a session, one-to-one session as well, I'd probably say him about 9 hours. He probably would travel about 9 hours he does a week.
Okay. And
yeah,
let's set the scene here then. So how many clubs do your boys play for?
2. So he has a JPL side on the Saturday, then he has his Echo League side he plays on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 2 clubs. So that's kind of doubles up on the time, we would say.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, that's one side of it. It's the hours. What about the cost? How much roughly do we think it's costing us for this season?
For the season?
Yeah, for the season. And that includes petrol. That includes not food, because you've got to feed them anyway, but their kit, their signing on fees, their extra training, whether that be strength and conditioning, whether that be small sessions. That includes boots, training tops that they don't get with their kit. What are we thinking?
Well, I was having this conversation the other day. I reckon it's anything between £9,000 to £10,000 for the year.
For the year?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's £9,000 to £10,000, literally.
You got a personal chef.
You got to do the numbers. The numbers is, if you, let's say you do a group session, strength and conditioning, that's £25 for the hour. You then do a session after that, Monday session, 2 hours. That's another 25 quid. So that's your Monday gone. So that's 50 quid on a Monday. Then you've got your monthly subscription to your registered club. You've got the monthly subscription for the second club. That's roughly about £60 a month each. Then you might have a one-to-one. One-to-ones are anything from £50 to £70 for the hour. Then you chuck in a little bit of boxing, which is, 20, 25 quid for the hour. And then you're talking about, Saturday, Sunday, and you may chuck in some athletics. And that athletics is, you're looking at maybe 35 quid for the hour. And then you want to start chucking in fuel, diesel, and you're talking about some of these places are not even local to where you live. You're talking about places that could easily be half an hour to 45 minutes away. Yeah, you can quite easily do 700 quid a month without petrol or diesel. And adding the diesel, you're looking at 9 to 10 grand.
And so what boots do you get? Sondico boots? Are you on Nike Lamine Miles, or what we talking boot wise?
I mean, if you're adding that, then you're pushing the cost. We're pushing the cost high. I mean, it doesn't need to be that crazy, but I do feel like in the league that we're in the environment that we're in, those sorts of figures are not uncommon. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching the podcast right now nodding, saying, "Yeah, I'm probably plus 100 on that or minus 100 on what I just suggested."
Okay, and you didn't include the personal chef, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
How much are you paying per month, roughly?
Me?
Or per year? Yeah.
Yeah, a year.
Per month, year, week? Deji's done month?
I haven't got £10,000 a year, I'm unfortunately to spend. But so I think Caden's biggest outgoing is probably his gloves.
Yeah.
His gloves, to make sure he's got gloves that are durable and last. So
how long do they last, these gloves?
Do you know what? I actually double up at a time now, because it's got to a point where they were going through, because of the surface, the 3G service, 4G services, the latex goes really quick. So I'm literally doubling up at a time on gloves. So you're looking at probably £100 a time. You're looking between the good durability is about, with the amount of games you played and training, probably about 6 to 9 weeks, 10 weeks max.
Yeah. Oh.
Just last 10 weeks, and then you've got to change it again.
Yeah, because after a while, the latex goes away, so the stickiness, the grip on the gloves go. You might get an odd tear here and there. So we actually now double up on his old match gloves, become his training gloves.
Yeah.
That's what just make it a little bit last a bit longer. But his gloves, luckily, I get discount codes that bring the prices down on the gloves we buy. His boots a bit better. You get about £100 a pair of boots, but they last more or less at least half the season.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But can I just make a quick point as well in relation? I'm not saying that or suggesting that I'm spending £10,000 a month on football, but when you start to do the maths, because I feel like sometimes we don't, a lot of the time you're giving out 20 quid, or you're going away. You're going away for the weekend, or you're just driving to the other part of London. You're just doing stuff, and you're not taking it in. When you really sit down, or you've gone to this session, or you've gone to that session, when you start to do the numbers, it starts to rack up really quickly. The only way you can cope is to kind of not think about it. Because if you actually realize that, right, I'm spending this amount, you probably wouldn't do it.
But when
you're in your head,
I think that's because I don't have a figure in mind. I don't actually do it. I just literally, if he needs it, I get it done. Yeah. And I think if I actually tally up my mind, think, actually, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, no, we can't do this.
Yeah, my mum used to say, I just close my eyes and do it. That's what my mum used to say when she was here. So I understand what you're saying. I get it. I do get it. So, I mean, every level is different, right? You just said that's at this level. So I just want to speak to parents who are probably new to it, looking at it from maybe this summer, going into the new season in September. What's that, 25, 26? The cost, if they are under 7s, or what's the new format, under 6s, whatever that is, it won't be that much. It shouldn't be that much.
I don't agree.
You don't agree? Do you think if they're going for it
from 6, from under 6?
It is. I think it starts the imagine the image is it's not that much. Then you speak to a parent and he goes, "We do this and we do that." And you're like, "Oh, actually, is my son falling behind?" So where'd you go? Oh, here. Oh. You got to get the
well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I understand. You're right. Sorry to cut you down. You're right. I just was saying the first entry into it, if you want to do non-hip hop parade, I call it hip hop parade. If you want to do casual participation, was it participation or
development?
Development. So if you're just doing participation, then the cost won't be so high. But if you're going into that development space and you are a sly soccer mom or soccer dad, as I like to say, and you want to have those conversations and say, what is your son doing? Oh, he's techie. Where does he go? Oh, does he have a one-to-one coach? Who's he? What's his name? Can you find him on Instagram? If you're moving into that space, then yes, from 6, from 7, doesn't matter what age, you're going to be spending a lot of money for sure. So it's money and cost.
But there's a reason for that as well, though, isn't there? Sorry to cut you, Andrew.
Yeah, no, there's a reason. What my reason or my rationale for that is, I always call it the chase. It's not the rat race. It's like the chase for academy at 9. That's what I think it is. What was your reason?
Yeah, I think so. But also, I feel like the way that I feel like for our generation, the world has changed and shifted. I think back in the day when we were growing up, and you could go to a youth club, you could be the best player in your playground, and that was enough. But I don't think being the best player in your school or in your playground is enough. And the best players in the playground today are the ones doing the extras. And so you're right, that chase, or what I'm saying, that idea that you can just have fun and you'll get picked up. I think yes, it can still happen, but even less so. Like you are minimizing the chances of that child being spotted, having the opportunity to play out, to go to an academy, have that high level, if that is the mindset. Unless you are harboring a Peter Schmeichel, or you're harboring a Messi or Ronaldo there, and you just don't know it, you're going to need to do the extras to unleash whatever it is that they have.
So I was thinking about this yesterday or today, I can't remember. I was thinking about this, and I don't disagree, but I would like to present an alternative viewpoint. And the extras that everyone's doing, small-sided sessions, iron sharpens iron, right? So that's why you take them to these small-sided sessions, maybe one-to-ones. But when I was growing up, everyone talks about 10,000 hours, right? Malcolm Gladwell said 10,000 hours to be a master at any sport, right? So we're trying to get in these 10,000 hours any which way we can. But when I was growing up, I'm sure when you guys were growing up too, I feel like I played football every single day at school, every single lunchtime. Mm-hmm. I know my son can't do that. They get 1 hour or 1 week, 1 day per week where they're allowed to play football in the playground, because football takes over and the school don't want that. And it causes too many arguments. So they get 1 hour per week. I used to play football every single lunchtime. And then when I came home, man then would knock for you, or you just knew to go to the cage. I lived in an estate. You went to the cage, somebody was playing football, a game was happening, and that game would happen until whatever time, right? So that's daily dosage of football every day. And all the players were good because you're playing every day. Iron was sharpening iron. It was concrete jungle, concrete walls, concrete pitch. So you had to be on your game. And then in the summer holidays, every holiday, every weekend, the same thing. But for hours and hours and hours and hours, we would just go and play football. Yeah. Right. And you knew when to come in. So I know the facilities are better. I know, yes, there's organized coaching, but that original grassroots element of 10,000 hours that was needed to get scouted or get into an academy, a lot of us were able to achieve it by just playing locally in the park with our friends at school. And of course, that's gone now, because I don't think any of our boys are allowed to play it to that extent, for example.
No.
So go on then.
I think as well, like the expectation to be in an elite environment is so much earlier. Like I don't recall being able to play in any high level organized football at the age of 8, 9, 10. I think I played my first school game at year 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was like a one-off game we played against a school. I scored a hat trick, by the way, on my debut. But
yeah, okay. Big yourself up. Pat yourself on the back there, Dan.
Yeah. I just think that the exposure now is so much younger, and the pressures and the expectation of parents and desire for them to be in that elite academy environment is so much more than it was back when we were probably younger. Like Centre of Excellence wasn't around when we was like 8, 9, 10. That wasn't a thing. You might get a couple of boys that play for district and whatever else, but going to Centre of Excellence wasn't a thing you heard about every single day. In the conversations we speak about every day. Did you see this boy that he signed, or he's on trial, and everything else? That wasn't a thing then. So
Yeah, fair.
I
It
think that's.
wasn't.
And again, I remember we used a Saturday morning. We never school game. We'd organise a mass game. We'd have 3 different teams. We'd all go to Draper's Fields or Major Park and play football from like 9:30 to 1 o'clock. That was it, constant every weekend. We didn't have a game at
Yeah.
school.
But
You can't go Drapers now without paying big money for that kind of
Yeah.
pitch size you want.
yeah, for real, for real. I don't even want to take the conversation left, but you guys made me start to think about, you know, and I don't know if this is the right time, but to think about also, you know, Andrew, you touched on this, the parental commitment, because sometimes I look at,
I was coming to it, so it's perfect segue.
yeah, yeah, no, I sometimes wonder how people do it.
No, continue, Dave.
I wonder how people do it, you know. So you're talking about the length of time, but this is also our time. We have to work. I'm not rich. I haven't won the Euro Millions, you know. But you know, you've got to get to certain clubs for 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or you know, in the evening, so early evening. You know, there's traffic on the A406. There's traffic on the M25. Then you're bringing them home late. More time, your child is jumping into the vehicle straight after school. They don't even get to touch home, changing in the car as you're driving down. That time and effort. None of the clubs, by the way, when you're doing the academy thing or football thing, no one's paying towards your petrol. No one's giving you a helping hand. And sometimes I do wonder. I feel like, why do we do this? Because it's good to have self-belief. It's good to have belief in your child. But we all know that the percentages of footballers is about 0.1% is going to make it to the top end. And so I always ask myself the question each week, why? Like, why do we do this? Like, why are we putting ourselves through this? Time, money, effort, pain for something that might not happen. And are we fine with that? That's the question I want to throw out. I know how I feel about it all, but I throw it to you first before I give mine away.
Dan, do you want to go first?
I don't know. I think for me, Caden, as much as he likes playing it, like playing football, he creates friendships from it. So it's as much as he's doing it, it's like a social thing as well. Like you said, they don't get to go outside and play with their friends anymore from school. Their friends don't come around the houses, they're not playing. So I think a lot of the time the friends they have now are based through football. And it is a massive thing. I think as I look at my older son, and I looking from afar and what I see how we developed in football, as they get older, their commitment changes. So is my commitment? If my commitment doesn't match his commitment as he gets older, what happens? Do we start forcing him to keep playing because I'm committed to it and he's not? Yeah, and I think that's why we're looking at older footballers beyond our ages of our boys. I think the commitment changes for the boys as well. They get new interest at secondary school. They get new friendship groups. You know, some of their friends don't play football. They're like you. I remember YouTube now is a big thing. Yeah, a lot of the boys before want to be footballers and want to be superstars. Now YouTube is a thing. They want to be YouTubers. They see the glamour and the stars and how great YouTube is. And look at, for example, the Ballers League. Look who's managing those teams are YouTubers.
Yeah.
So I think as much as I do it because I think I love football. I enjoy watching him play. Like I said to you before, Andrew, so many times I watched my son play, and some of the things he does, I'm in awe of. Because some of the things he does and saves he makes, I could never imagine myself even at that level at his age. So I think it's for me. I just like being a spectator. I'm a fan. Watching my son play, I'm literally a fan. Literally, I got my own personal superstar that I get to take to games every single week. Yeah, and have conversations with my own superstar in our own realm. He's my superstar. Yes, I just enjoy watching him play, and hopefully he's lucky enough the opportunity that to go to the next level again. And whoever knows whatever happens to that, I'm with him all the way, man.
For real, I respect that.
Big up to that. I guess for me, I would like to think if my son was doing ballet, I would be as committed, right? Probably not, if I'm honest, but I would like to think that. I would like to think that the opportunity is there, so I will try and help him achieve that opportunity, right? Because they say luck. For me, I always say luck is preparedness meeting opportunity. That's when you get lucky. So if you're not prepared and the opportunity comes, or if he's not prepared and the opportunity comes, then he's not going to be able to take that opportunity and he's not going to get lucky, right? So that's all the training that goes into it, all those hours, all the preparation, mental and physical, right? And then the other side of it, the commitment, getting him to that opportunity. If that opportunity is along the 406, as you were saying, Deji, and that's 45 minutes away, contesting with 406 or M25 rush hour traffic, that's hard work. Leaving home at 4 o'clock when I'm working, I've just gone through this and it's taxing. I always feel like I'm behind. I always feel like I need to check my emails and check and make sure I'm present, because even though I'm conscientious and I log on earlier in the day, the problem is I do work in projects, so it's cool, I can manage. But if I'm not visible or around at a certain time and other people are, and if I'm needed, that doesn't look good. So I try and stay online, work, and then when I come home, I spend an hour or two and tidy up. But he's in bed. He doesn't see this. He's like, I come in, like you say, he's changing in the car, eating in the car, and I hate messy cars, and my car's just a mess right now. That's the real commitment, let's be honest, right? And anyone who knows me knows I hate messy cars. And then they're coming home late, put them to bed, shower, whatever, still need some more food because they're growing as well, right? And they've just burnt off loads of calories and they're still growing. So you have to fuel them up. And then by the time you turn around, I'm going back out to my office, I'm doing a couple of hours work, then I'm coming home, I'm getting back in the house. And then it was almost time for me to get ready to bed. And then I've got to do that all again for another 2 days. Right. And this is the academy journey. And this is why I wanted to save the academy, because Deji, you hit the nail on the head, because elite grassroots level is one thing. You may travel 45 minutes to go to a game, right? You may do that if you're in the Echo League, for example, because that's West, what they call West Essex and Essex. So our games this side, we can go as far as Southend, right? For a game on a Sunday morning. But we've probably then got half the games at home, which are local to us, right? But unless you're playing for where we live, I can't mention in those clubs' name. I'm not going to mention that club. But there's a few clubs that will be on our doorstep. The other clubs are 45 minutes away from us. So that's 45 minutes to go to a home game. The other day, we went down to Bournemouth, right? That's 3 hours away. I know Rash went to Liverpool recently. Like, this is the commitment. And why do you do it? You do it for the opportunity. I do it because also I think it's a bit of reward for the hard work. It's like, this is what you can achieve. You can get these opportunities. Even if you're not getting signed, you're getting these opportunities. You're testing yourself. You're seeing where you're at. You can take a picture like people like to do with the club sign or in the kit. You can have that memory to say, at least I did this. Others don't get the opportunity. So that's why I do it. But I've had some experience of it. I know, Dan, you've had experience of it. And I was going to ask you about this because you were at least 45 minutes to an hour away when you were doing this. I'm talking about the club off the M1.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. I went to Birmingham. We've been everywhere. He's been St. George's. He's been he's been all up around the country. He's been to Manchester, he's been to Liverpool.
Oh, you did many, yeah.
Yeah, we've been to Wales. He's been everywhere. He's been all around the country. I remember I got my car. It was all nice and shiny, and mileage looked nice. It was all good. After 6-7 months, the mileage was a whole different thing. I was thinking, we need to look how we're doing this. And then, as Dej was saying before, those nights, this cost comes up. We were spending nights going night before. It was far, just to make sure it was on there on time and it wasn't traveling at crazy times in the morning. I think that's a big commitment as well that parents have to take into consideration. What you said, that forget the football, just get into games and traveling is such a big thing, man, and it takes its toll. And I think it's it's hard, especially when at the end of that tunnel, it isn't light. It is quite dark sometimes. It isn't the glitz and glamours of getting offered and signing, and you think, oh, it's worth it. Sometimes those miles and hours come to nothing at that time. So it's about taking the experiences and the memories and running with it and explaining that, sitting down with your kids and riding the mic with Caleb, no matter what happens. For example, we're big fans in a team up north, in the northwest of the world, of the country. And we said to him, no matter what, nobody can take it away from you. You played here. It's an amazing environment, amazing facility, and you enjoy it forever. So there are ups and downs and there's pros and cons of traveling, man, but it's hard and you have to just expect a roll with hard times as well, man, because it ain't always great, no matter how much you put into it.
Yeah, definitely. And Des, you were going to say what you felt the reason was people did it.
Yeah, no, I think no, just listening to you has kind of changed my kind of view. I guess people, you know, I guess people, maybe majority deep down, have that feeling that maybe their child might be the one, you know, and maybe my thing has always been to push my children as far as they could go, and I would be happy with that. But we know people that quite simply it is ball at all costs, you know. The reason why they are committed, the reason why they do what they do, is because by hook or by crook, their child must be a footballer. I'm not of that ilk, but I will push and see how far it will go. So yeah, that was just my thoughts around that, because it's a huge commitment. Time,
Massive.
money. You know, you talked about being present, Andrew. The amount of times where you're being pulled or you're running out. You know, you before and I think it really kicked off after COVID, really. But before, like, I would like to hang around the office for half an hour, chit chat at 6 o'clock, mate. These days, I need to be at the door by 3:30, 4 o'clock. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, times have changed. Now I've become antisocial. You know, I'm thinking about how can I go to work, and I'm organizing my day around training. That is a mad thing to do, and that is something that we're doing at the moment.
My whole week is planned around what my son has to do the week, like what sessions he has. Has he got a game here? Is he gonna train here? What's happening at the weekend? I'm sometimes planning on Monday what's happening on Saturday.
Can you imagine that? But you're literally planning for the football rather than the football fitting into your schedule. You're
no.
How mad is that, bro? How mad is
life is football. So football is life.
It is so crazy that obviously Rash isn't here, but he knows this. So his boys they're obviously twins, and they had a birthday party, and Rash purposely timed his birthday party so everyone has football out the way so that everyone can attend.
Right. You're bringing it. You guys, I love you guys, you know, because you're just doing my segues for me, because that's the next section. This is why I wanted Rash on the pod. This is why I wanted Ade on the pod and Martin as well, because they've all got their experiences. But Rash has obviously got the twins. He's got his daughter as well. So they're split like ships in the night as well, like a lot of us are. I think all of us are fortunate that we've got soccer moms as wives, really, or those who may not directly be soccer moms, but don't mind and enjoy it for their sons as much as we do, right? Because if that weren't the case, this would be very, very different, right? But like you say, it's the family that suffers along with us, right? We talk about our commitment. You guys are slightly different from me, especially you, Dan. Like, your little one goes with you pretty much every time and everywhere Kay plays football, right? And I've seen her in the cold. I've seen her in the sun. I've seen her under the covers on her tablet because the sun was too hot, away on festival tournaments. Like, she is a soldier. She's a trooper. And if she had a different attitude, it would make life harder.
I think, like with her, like she's all of that, and she's literally a soccer sister. Like, she doesn't know anything. She doesn't know anything different apart from football with her brother. That's all she knows. So all she knows is on a weekend we go and watch my brother play. And this year we kind of sat down and thought, you know what, she's of an age now. It's kind of time to let her venture out and have her own chapter. But even then, she still comes back. I began to watch football. Kate play football today. Is Kate play football today? Can we go? At one point, she wanted to be a goalkeeper as well. That was interesting until the first session over the field, and the ball hit her hands, and she threw her gloves off and said, "No more, no, thank you." But
maybe she comes back to it.
But I think wherever Kayden's been, and it's really like in some of the clubs it's been at, it's been kind of nice. Even now, like I've seen coaches and recruiters that always ask about her as well.
Yeah,
they know Kayden has a sister, and they know that she's been part of the package and part of the journey as well. And they always ask her, "How's his little sister getting on? How's she getting on?" Blah blah blah. So she knows she's been there, and she's a gem. She doesn't complain, and she's probably his biggest fan, even though she doesn't tell him half the time.
Soccer sister, love that.
Yeah.
What about Dej? What about you? Because you've got the family as well. How does it work in your world? Like,
yeah, it's mad. It's been crazy because actually my daughter, who's the oldest, was playing. She was playing, and actually it was last year. And she's a year older than my son. But then she decided that she fell out of love. She fell out of love with the football. And I think, I kind of feel what Danny's saying, because what you want to do is you don't want to be seen, or you don't want to be or feel like you're doing more with one child than the other. So for those
the reality is that you are. The reality is that you are.
Yeah, so I try to make sure that the kids, like the rest of the girls, I've got 4 girls, and then I've got the 1 boy.
4 girls? I know you had 4 girls.
4 girls, man. 4 girls.
You're langing out here. What's going on?
Hey, you know what I mean? So, try to get them into gymnastics. One of them was doing football. Some of them are doing drama, but it's just not to the same level. So I try to get them to do something a week.
Sorry, Des. Yeah. I just thought of something. So you got 4 girls, and I've just said, in reality, it's going to be about your son more time because of the hours you've just stated that you do, right? And is there anything in your household that says he's the favorite because he's a boy and he's playing football against the girls? Like, has that dynamic come up?
No, that dynamic hasn't come up. A bit like Dan, I think there's an acceptance that he's on a path, and the path that he's on is a serious path. And so, dad needs to go out, drop him to training. Mum and dad need to be at matches to support our brother, who is very serious about his ball. And I think that my daughters are very much engaged in their activities, but it just doesn't compare. You're talking about maybe they're doing their activity once a week, and then he's doing activities maybe 9 times a week. So, it's just not balanced at all. But if I felt that, my daughter was probably the closest, my oldest. She was playing and doing, drama and gymnastics at one stage. But she genuinely fell out of love. She just said, you know what, I don't want to play. And that for me was when it hit me. Because at the moment we make this assumption that, or we assume our boys enjoy playing, for example, and they keep enjoying to play. But what my daughter showed me is that when the day comes that they don't want to play, there's actually nothing we can do. And I'm not going to lie, it crushed me when she said she didn't want to play. And it will crush me even more if my son all of a sudden, decided that football's not the one, he just wants to do YouTube. I find that concept a bit mad. And sometimes I'm having to check myself that is it me? Am I
vicariously?
Yeah, like, are we living vicariously through our kids? Like, that is a question generally. I don't believe I am, but I won't lie to you. On a weekend, if there ain't a game,
you said this to me.
Really don't know. I don't know what to do. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? That can't be right, surely.
No, you know what that is? That's because of our team that we support.
Not yours.
Myself, I speak to Deji at that point.
Champions.
Cool. Okay, champions. Okay. We get it. No, so my brother said this to me because he's got 2 older ones who are both on their journeys. And he actually said to me maybe 10 years ago, he said, you'll be like this. Your son's team will become the team you support, the team you watch. And our team was still dead then. And our team's still dead now. So I think that plays into it. Like, we would rather watch our son's team, get more enjoyment out of that, and just see the development and the growth, the maturity. And you said superstars. I like to think of those boys as little men. And it's funny because on Sunday, my boys' team played their first nine-a-side game together, right, as a friendly. And when I see them on the pitch, I think, they're making decisions, they're going through tackles, their lungs are bursting, they're going for it, they're up and down, this pitch is massive, and they're going for it, and they're just like little professionals. And then came off, I was speaking to one of the mums, and she was like looking for her son. And there was a swing park behind the pitch, and he was off on the swings playing around with his little sister. Like, they are children. Like, they are still children, and 9 and 10. But it was just that kind of juxtaposition. I think that's not quite the right way to use that, of them being these little professionals on the pitch, like literally going in as hard as nails, and then on flick of a switch, they go back to being children.
Did a switch off.
Yeah, they just switch it off. They just switch it off.
I think so. Like, sometimes I look out where we live and we've got like a play area, and I look out the window and like Kayla and his sister are playing on the swing together, or they're on their bikes or scooters, and there's not a ball to be seen anywhere. And it's like, that's the other side of it as well. Like, as much as I remember someone said to me, like, you have to get a balance between what they do continuously playing football and them being little mini footballers, just being children, doing things that kids do. And that might be playing with action men and playing games or playing the PlayStation or just playing in the garden. I think sometimes some parents, not say every parent, but some parents forget that their children are actually children.
Yeah, it's tough because, right, so let's be honest. We spoke about a level of commitment, right? We spoke about the hours. We know the 10,000 hours statement. So we know there are guys and girls that are playing, and they're doing 45 minutes every day in the garden before school, before they even do any academy training, small-sided training, one-to-one training later on in that day, right? So they're getting that work in. And there are days that they obviously don't want to do that. There are days that the child themselves are like, but it's the pathway for them. And I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it is what it is. There are other children that are now being homeschooled so that they can get more footballing time in, which, had you told me that, had I known that beforehand, maybe I would have done the same thing. However, I do think education is important. I'm not saying the school system is the be-all and end-all, and I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I think it's each to their own. But that seems ingenious to me. If you believe that your son is the one or your daughter's the one, you're maximizing that potential. But at the same time, you have to make sure you know how to homeschool. Right, because
sorry, Andrew, 100%. Because just going back to what you said about, so go back there as well, investment. So I remember a good while ago, I spoke to a friend of mine, and his theory was the amount of money I spend on one-to-one sessions with my son, I need to counterbalance that and put the same input, energy, and finance into his education. So if there's extra tuition, learn a second language, that's what I have to do. Yeah. And I think if you have that mindset and balance, and I think it's fine. But I think if you only just set everything out in one basket into one channel, one path, you're setting yourself up and your child to fail. Because you know, even with professional footballers now, their careers are short, and they need a plan B. Unless you're the Messis, the Mbappes, the Ronaldos that are gonna get deals for life. So when you stop playing football, the money's still coming. You need a plan B. Yeah, and I think that's what we need to do. Make sure, regardless of what we do with football, we don't set them up to fail. And that's having a plan B and a C, because there's always going to be a blockage here, a blockage there. And I think that's what more and more I look at as well with my son. I need to say, what do I want to do outside of football? What do I want him to do? What's his interest? What do you like doing? Yeah, and he likes reading, he likes drawing. So he knows he might be an architect.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Listen, very good point. I mean, those guys are the 0.0001% out here, right? That get that wealth coming in and in. I think there's a pathway for a lot of boys and girls in football that doesn't involve top tier, second tier, like step League 1, League 2. You mentioned this to me and Dan the other day. We were speaking about this in terms of income. Okay, the income may not be phenomenal, but can you feed your family? Can you have a lifestyle?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Are you doing something actually that you love doing? Yes, you are. Yes, it becomes a job. It does become a job. Every professional footballer has told me this. It does become a job. But at the same time, I think you'd rather do that job than go and work in a 9 to 5 with a boss that you may not like, doing something that you think, meh, it's just paying the bills. So there are opportunities, yeah, and they may not be life changing, but I think football's a gift. And I said this last week or the week before, football's a gift. And if you can do something that you enjoy, that pays you and keeps you fit, and if you're a boy, maybe, you're the jock and is a nice way to riz the girls, then maybe not a bad idea to keep going, right? And don't just stop if you're not in a Cat 1 academy or get signed by a Cat 1 club or even Cat 2 club. So the commitment should continue, is my point. The last thing I wanted to say on this is, I think you guys have touched on it a little bit. It's just creative parenting and just balanced parenting, because I remember speaking to one footballing mum who's familiar to us. Her son was playing for a Cat 1 club and they were going away, and they were playing away, up in Derby, I think it was. And it's similar to what you were saying, Dan, about sometimes going up the night before. And what she was speaking one evening, and she said what she did was she booked, they were leaving, it was Friday night training, they were playing on a Saturday. And she said, we're leaving straight away from here and we're going up to Derby to stay in a hotel. And the reason we're doing that is because the game's tomorrow. A, I want to get up there early and sleep rather than drive in the morning. But B, and more importantly, is that my daughter is dragged around everywhere with him. And I've chosen a hotel specifically for her that's got a pool, that's got this, that's got X, that's got Y, because why is it that he gets everything and she doesn't? So she made sure that there was something for their daughter to do while she was being dragged halfway up the country for her brother to go and play football. And that's commitment, right? That's commitment from everyone. But it was just a bit of creativity to make sure that there was some balance. And I think that's very important.
I think so. I think it's very important. And I think it's also about thanking them. Because let's be honest, if you don't have a supporting other half, if you don't have supportive children, there's been times where my mum, my brothers,
extended,
uncles, extended family have had to chip in to get my son to training, to get my son to a game, especially when I'm not around. But the bottom line is, it's a team effort, and it's already very stressful. I'm sure everyone that's listening in can identify. You're working, you're thinking about your bills, you're thinking about the projects or whatever it is that you do in your day job, and then this is another project that you have to deal with. This project, which is also your child as well, and it needs everyone's buy-in. And I'm going to use this platform to thank my daughters, because they're so supportive and not so understanding. I'm sure if they were kicking up fuss, it would be stressful. I get to leave them at home with my brother so that we can go out and watch his games. Now, if that was a problem, it would be a problem. Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And so, so I just want to big up everyone who is in this boat, who can identify, because they're going through it themselves. Let's also raise, a glass, or let's raise and praise for those
Because some of us have got a glass here right now.
Yeah. You know. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so important, and sometimes you forget that. And just having this conversation tonight has just made me feel how much more that I need to be more mindful and aware of the activities and making sure that everyone is being fulfilled in my household.
Yeah, no, big up for that, Deji. Wise words. And yes, Daniel, do you want to thank anyone? I know you do. So I'm going to let you speak and raise your glass.
Again, just to echo what Dad says, man, that my support network, everyone that's there. And you know, it's not just like close. Even like you, Andrew, there's been times I've called on you to help me get to Ken into games or bring him home. And you know, I think it's like the whole footballing family as well, not just that. Obviously, to close ones that mean a lot to you and do put effort as well and sacrifice, but also thank, you know, football friends, football family, man, can they help out as well? You know, just being there and sharing the burden, like sharing stories like this, you know, so you're not alone. We have these conversations most days, and everything we relate to each other. We go through the same things, or those questions or problems you think on your own, you're not. Could you speak to your brother and he goes, I know, I've been there, I'm feeling it. You get it. So again, thank you, my brothers, and obviously my network around me as well.
Yeah, no, big up. Yeah, no, same. Like, obviously, the missus, she's a soccer mom anyway, but her sister as part of this journey, and now we even sent her daughter on a journey as well, which she's thanking us for, not, but now she's turning into a soccer mom. So it's a joy to see. Her husband's a part-time referee as well, so that's interesting. It's football. My brother's gone, picked up my son, taking him training. Dan, yourself, like there's so many, like you say, the football family and the football network, just to share information, ideas. We can help each other with, you know, saving money because someone's done something. We know it works, it doesn't work. We've got a discount code, we've got a hookup, whatever it is. It's about having those conversations, right? It's about information, trying to get rid of the misinformation and try and help everybody with the right information. So I want to thank everyone that's still with us, everyone that's hit the subscribe button, everyone that's hit the like button. Please leave your comments. Let us know some of your commitments. Go on, Dan.
Do you know what I was thinking? And I think, again, this is not about this show. I think we need to get more parents to share their stories.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
get them on.
Just to reach out. And who knows what we might have a parent on and have their view. You know,
Yeah, 100%.
I think every week we talk to parents. You know, we say, this is our opinion, these are our thoughts. Like, let's hear from you. Let's actually hear from you. You know,
Yeah.
your side, and if there's, I don't know, clips of your kids playing football or stuff, something special, those wow moments, let's see them. Let's hear about them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant. So how do we do that? So guys, if you want to get yourself on, get your voice on, get your stories heard, have a question, want to share wow moments, anything, comment in the YouTube video, like comment, or send us a message. We're on Instagram. We're Ball at All Cost on Instagram. Find us, send us a message, and let's have that conversation. We'll get you on, we'll clip you up, maybe get you on live, depending on the situation. Like, we want to hear from you. I really want to hear from a soccer mom. Like, I do, because I think it's very important. This show has been very male heavy and it's not escaped me, right? So that's not by choice. We're going to get some female professionals on who are in this space. But if there's a soccer mom who has a soccer mom, let's call it right, we're English, who has a story or stories to tell, hit us up. Thank you for that, Dan. Definitely. So guys, listen, it's Ball at All Cost. It's the commitment episode. We've come to the end. You know what to do. Follow, like, subscribe, notification, all of that. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You are true to this. We want the ones that are new to this as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.